All right, hello, everybody in the ARA community. I'm just kind of looking over the participants, and it doesn't show that anybody is participating. Oh, no, there we go, a couple people. All right, awesome. Good, I just want to make sure that some of us were logged on to do some yoga. Hello, everybody. My name is Julia, and we are going to be participating in the Yin class today. Oh, hey, girl. Hey, Celeste. How you doing? I missed your quirkiness in class, and I can't wait until we get to be able to be face to face and not through a screen. I missed you, and I want to climb with you, all that good stuff. While you are all waiting or joining on in for our props today, I just want to make sure that we have a pillow, and you want it to be a nice thick pillow, especially in yin. You want to prop yourself up as much as you can so that you can be comfortable in some of the asanas that we will be doing today. So I will suggest getting two pillows from your bed, maybe, or just like a really thick pillow, anything that you can make into bolster style, as well as I would accommodate a couple blankets, just anything to really help you get into your asanas today. I wanted to grab a couple extra for myself. And this is how serious we are in Yin when it comes to proppage. We just want to be able to be as comfortable as we can while we are exploring all these different poses and just having a very relaxing and great time with this. Just setting up a couple things since the live connection was being a little funky before I started. Okay. Alrighty. So as you went and got your props, in case anybody started to join on in today's class, just grabbing a bunch of pillows, blankets, anything that helps make you feel nice and comfortable here. Taking off my slippers. Okay. And so for our starters for today's class, we are going to start at a seated position. And if you'd like to, you can place a blanket underneath your sitting area if you would like to have more comfort here. Good. And then as we begin to sit here, finding a rooting sensation from your tailbone and finding a little bit of the lift through our chest, coming into that comfortable sitting position. Hands onto the knees. We're going to take a deep inhale in through the nose, bring your shoulders all the way up towards the ears. And then we're going to exhale, rotate them back, bringing your shoulders into the girdle, with your chest finding a lift here. And focusing and channeling a lot of the breath here today. In through the stomach area, so as we breathe, inhaling, allowing your chest to rise here. Full belly breath, and then exhale as we release. Keeping the spine tall. Shoulders still in its girdle. Just allowing you to find this connection here onto this mat. Throughout this week, we have worked a lot with twists, the properties of twists, and how it's beneficial for us to maintain those asanas throughout our practice, but most importantly, just making sure that we involve any sort of physical movement and being consistent on our physical practices. It doesn't have to necessarily just be yoga, but anything around the house to keep you active, to keep you motivated, to keep your limbs healthy. It's very easy for us to kind of be couch potatoes at this time, and it only takes yourself to find this motivation. So in today's class, in the Yin class, we're going to explore a couple twists as well, but just restoring the areas of our body that we worked a lot with throughout this week, which are the side bodies alongside the rib cage into our lower spine, as well as our hips and hamstrings that kept us stable, kept us strong, and that kept us fired up and alive to help support throughout our twists, giving them some good restorative actions as well. So then for the start of your practice today, you're more than welcome to set an intention, maybe bringing something or giving gratitude to what brought you on this mat here. Maybe thinking about ways that you can continue to keep yourself motivated or coming up with new ideas on how to stay active in your time at home. And from here on our next breath, we're going to guide our hands to our knees. We're going to rotate our shoulders back and inhale, bring our chest up towards the ceiling and bringing our nose up to follow. Then as we exhale, we're going to round through the shoulders, chin to chest, like you would in a cat back. Inhale, rise into your cow spine. And then exhale, release into your cat spine. And you can continue to find your own breath and your own pace here as you go through these movements of extending and stretching out through your spine. And then as you explore these seated cat cows in your own breath and your own pace, you're more than welcome to maybe find more of a hinge into your hips, leading your chest forward when you're in your cow. Just get a little deeper into the hips and into the spine. Good. Couple more breaths. And then on the next breath, we inhale, guiding your chest forward into your cow spine. You can rotate the palms up and inhale, bringing the arms above overhead. And then start to hip hinge here, hands into the mat, rotating the tailbone towards the ground and coming into this seated forward fold. Our forearms can be onto the ground, our chin can be to chest. And if you are looking to get more into your arms, you could grab the pillows, or if you have your own personal blocks to the sides, you can place your forearms onto the pillows or the blankets to open up more through the arms if you'd wish. You can also take that pillow and place it underneath your head or onto your chest to support your spine more. Palms facing up to help receive the energy, making this pose more passive than it is forcive. We'll take 5 more breaths here. After your 5th breath, you can flip your palms to the ground and inhale, halfway lift, cow chest up towards the ceiling. And then you can walk your hands over to the right side of the room, placing your left hand on top of the right hand. And you can continue to bring that chin to chest, or maybe even guide that bolster or pillow underneath your arms and allowing your head to meet the pillow. Getting yourself situated here for 5 more breaths. And after your 5th breath, you can walk your hands back in towards the center and then start to navigate your hands over towards the left side, placing your right hand on top of the left. And if you would like to grab your pillow along the journey, you can go ahead and do that. Head resting on the pillow, or maybe it's your chest. Maybe filling up the space in between your hips and your stomach. Give this forward fold to make it more relaxing. And then whenever you find that comfortable position, invite 5 more breaths. And on the 5th breath, you can walk your hands back in towards the center here. In your eyes, halfway up through your chest. Exhale, round the spine into a cat spine. And come all the way back up into a seated position here. Right. Just rocking your ribcage side to side here. Maybe doing a shoulder roll just to reset your spine, reset your back. And then taking this a little deeper into the hips, we're going to go ahead and come onto an all-fours position, tabletop, and just go through your own personal cat-cows for just a couple breaths. So with your cows, your chest is forward, tailbone is up. And then in your cow, and then in your cat, your shoulders and your spine towards the ceiling. And then once you went through a few of your own personal cat-cows, you can keep your knees underneath your hips, and you can walk your hands forward, coming into an extended puppy pose, where your knees are only hip length apart, the tailbone's up in the air, forearms are onto the mat, head to the mat, your tailbone is active towards the ceiling, hollowing out through your lower spine, as if there's a bowling ball onto your lumbar. Good, and the chest is making its way towards the ground as well. And if you wanted to create more depth, you can grab the pillows if needed and placing it underneath your forearms. So as you are here in your puppy pose, just actively guiding your chest towards the ground, keeping the shoulders away from your ears, tailbone up towards the ceiling, allowing your hips to be just above your knees. Three more breaths here. And then on the next breath, we're going to inhale, halfway lift, walking your hands towards the left side of the room and placing the right hand on top of the left hand. Good, getting that good side body stretch. And if that's a little uncomfortable for your hands, you can have them spread apart if that's more desirable. Just looking to get that extra sensation into the right side body here. Keeping your hips square. And you can go as deep as you would like into the side bend. Keeping the tailbone up, chest towards the ground. And you can keep your forearms to the ground too. They don't have to be lifted if you wanted more support. 5 more breaths. And after the 5th breath, you can lift up through the chest and start to walk your upper body towards the right side. Your choice to place your left hand on top of your right or to keep them apart. And then once you found that comfortable position, staying here for 5 breaths. Making sure that we are breathing nice and slow, not rushing our breaths. And then after the 5th breath, you can start to walk your hands back into the center in the original puppy pose. You can spread your knees apart with the big toes to touch. And from here with your right hand, we're going to bring it up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to thread the needle, placing the right shoulder and the right temple onto the mat with the tailbone up towards the ceiling. And then with your left arm, you can take it behind your back, where the back of the hand is going to guide towards the spine. And pressing your forearm into the mat, your right forearm. And if you wanted, this is a good opportunity for some extra comfort. If you wanted to place a pillow onto your head here, maybe blanket onto your knees. And if placing your left hand behind your back is too much for today's practice, you can just extend the left arm to the front of the mat so that you can still get a good stretch into the upper left body. At the same time, you're getting a good spinal twist. Making sure that we keep the connection with our breath nice and slow, deep breaths. This is our yin class, and for a yin class, there's no need to race, there's no need to speed through the asanas or through the breath. We're going to stay here at the same moment and at the same time. Five more breaths here. After you reach your 5th breath, you can return the left hand back to neutral, and then inhale, coming out of that twist, and just rocking your upper body side to side here. And Sarge says hi. And then once you are all done reciting yourself, rocking side to side, We're going to bring the left arm to the ceiling in a twist for a breath. And on the exhale, we're going to thread the needle, placing the left shoulder to the mat, left ear to a pillow, keeping your hips nice and high here. And as your hips are high, you can bring the right hand, the back of the hand behind the spine, coming into that twist. Or you can bring the right hand to the front of the mat, keeping it nice and active, or maybe the forearm to the ground. As long as we have that comfortable placement for the right arm. And then start to count here for 5 more breaths. And when you reach your 5th breath, you can bring your right hand back into neutral. And then we're going to inhale, bring the left hand back to the mat and go ahead and rock side to side if you need to. Get yourself reset, maybe a cat-cow here. Good. And then once you are done resetting your spine, you can go ahead and I would make sure that you have a blanket nearby. I would make sure that you have a pillow nearby, possibly 2. So we're going to go into a frog pose, but one leg at a time, and allowing us to prop up, using this opportunity to do so. So with the half frog leg, what we're going to do is we are going to take the blanket to start, and we are going to lie our pelvic onto the blanket here. Mine's kind of be folded nice and funky. Okay. So with the blanket, we're going to place it onto our pelvic area. Good. Bringing our forearms to the mat. Of the smaller of the pillows, if you have one, or blocks, you can place some in between your arms here. And we're going to keep the right leg towards the back of the room, but with the left knee, we're going to hike the left knee up and over to the side, and having our ankle aligned with the knee and toes pointed up. So it almost looks like an opposite pigeon, because usually the foot will be to the inside of the groin, but the foot is going to be on the outside. And to get more comfortable and more depth into the hip, you can stack pillows, either 1 or 2, on top of your hip here. And allow your shoulders to be away from the ears, maybe chin to chest, or maybe folding forward onto a bolster or to a pillow, just keeping the left hip open for now. And if your head is on a pillow, you can either have the chin to the head, forehead, or having yourself look over to the right side, so that we can influence ourselves to keep our left knee rooted here. And if you wanted to make this asana intense, if that's what you're looking for, all you have to do is add some more padding underneath the thigh. And I wouldn't go anywhere too crazy because we don't want to put some stress into the lower spine, just enough so that if you want to find that good hip opening on this side, you have that good height to stack. That's not putting too much of a load into your lower spine. And start to count to your 5 final breaths. And then after your 5th breath, you can slowly bring your chest back up if it was lower. Good. And just very gently come onto your right knee, guiding your left knee off of the pillows here. And then guiding the pillows over towards the right side of the mat. Finding your pelvic back to the blanket. And then taking the right leg on top of your pillow prop here into a half frog. Toes are pointed out. Good. And then keeping your forearms either onto the mat with your chin to chest here. Or if you wanted to come to a complete fold, you can come to a fold and prop up as much as you would like for the right leg. And finding yourself in a nice, comfortable yet opening area. And just making sure that you still stay connected with your breath. Beginning to find the 5 final breaths here. Then once you reach your final 5th breath, you can slowly release the right leg off the props. Good. Kind of windshield wipe your legs side to side. Rotate through the ankles here. And then placing your feet back to the ground. Good. Legs are nice and long. Hands are going to be underneath your shoulders. Bring your shoulders back, elbows inwards. And we're going to inhale, rise into a cobra position. Staying here for 2 more breaths. And then exhale, release. Inhale, rise into a seal pose. And then coming up on your knees into the tabletop position again. We're going to go into the full frog pose. And so from here, you can place pillows side to side if you have a plethora of pillows like I do. And you can guide your knees and your legs onto the pillows here, opening up more through the hip. And you can come and find yourself into a frog position where you're on your forearms, your tailbone is a little bit nice and high into the air, the feet are pointing out to the sides here, and the goal is to open up more through the inner sockets of our hips. So you can keep with your forearms and your chest lifted. If you wanted to come into a fold, you can come into a fold if that feels good for you, making sure that your feet are still out. And for some of us, that comfort may need to be found in a different area. So if you happen to have another pillow with you, or blanket, or if you'd like to switch out your pillows on your knees, you can bring them in towards your torso here and allow yourself to lie on it on a bolster, or having that bolster placed in between the dead space of your hips and allow yourself to come forward here. So there's many different areas to find comfortability into this hip hinge. And as you are finding a comfortable area, you still want to be able to find an area where you can experience the sensation and feel the stretch as well. Because, this might not be a fast-paced workout, but we still are working to rejuvenate and working to stretch and working to restore your body at this moment. So we do want some sort of sensation. And it is okay not to feel sometimes too. It shouldn't be expected, just an area where you feel as if you are getting something out of your practice today. You take your final 10 breaths here. Hi, guy. Hello. And then after you've reached that final 10th breath, you can go ahead and very slowly release your legs off of the pillows and have your toes up in the air and rock it side to side. Sarge decided to come and say hi, so he says hi to everybody on the other side of the screen. And once you have reset from your hips, you can have your legs straight and towards the back of the mat here, just kind of guiding the props away from your mat. And from here, we're going to bring our body more towards the left side of our mat. And we're going to extend the right arm to the T here, having that contact with our shoulder to the ground. So if we need to, you could place a blanket if you would like to underneath your shoulder, if that's more comfortable. But we're going to have a chest opening and some shoulder restoration. Taking the left hand by your face like we did in threading the needle. We're going to slowly inhale, roll ourselves onto our right hip, having our left leg on top to stack here, and having your head towards the ground, or maybe grabbing a pillow and placing your right ear onto the pillow. And you can choose to have your legs on top of each other, or you can guide the left foot behind the right knee, getting a little bit of a spinal twist. Staying here for 5 more breaths. On the 5th breath, you can slowly roll your stomach and your legs back onto the mat. Inhale, come into cobra. Staying here for 3 breaths. Then exhale, release. Gently bringing your hips to the right side of the room with your upper body to follow. This time, we're going to bring your left arm to the T. Good. And maybe having a pillow for our left ear. And we're going to roll ourselves onto the left side of our body with our right to stack. And you are more than welcome to place the right foot behind the left knee if that's more comfortable. If you want to get a little deeper into your asana. Just making sure that we have the connection of our left shoulder to the ground. Good. And our right hand is onto the floor to help keep us supported here so that we don't roll onto our back. So that we're not overstretching the left shoulder, the left pec. Taking your final 5 reps here. And after your 5th breath, you can align your legs and slowly find yourself back onto your spine or onto your stomach. Shoulders are away from the ears. When to inhale, come into cobra. 3 breaths. Good. Then exhale, release. And the next breath, we're going to inhale, come onto our tabletop position again. Doing a couple cat-cows to reset the spine. Good. And then from here, we're going to go ahead in the tabletop position. Once you're all reset, we're going to bend the right knee in towards our chest. We're going to exhale, bring it to that fire hydrant stance. Stay here for 5 breaths. Finding a good core engagement, quad engagement. Hands are pressing into the ground. Shoulders away from the ears. And after that 5th breath, we're going to inhale, guide the right knee to the right armpit. Nice and high, 3 breaths. Good. And then after that 3rd breath, we're going to bring the right knee towards the back of the room. Right foot towards the ceiling. 3 breaths here. Right foot is flexed. Good. Then after those 3 breaths, we're going to go ahead and guide the right knee behind the left knee. And we're going to come into those Gomukhasana legs. So if you need to, if you know that you have a lot of open space in between your knees, you can keep the blanket to place in between. You're more than welcome to sit yourself onto a pillow. But in these Gomukhasana legs, we're going to bring our tailbone back so that our right leg is underneath and the left leg is on top. So our knees are stacked. Our heels are close to our glutes. And if you have some dead space or some open space, you can roll up a blanket and place it in between the top leg and the lower leg. Good to kind of even them out if you need to. Or maybe a very thin layer if you just choose, or if you have bony knees like I do and they're comfortable to touch, then place the blanket in between. Good. And then once we find these Gomukhasana legs, we're going to bring our arms out to the T. Good. And then we're going to inhale, rise, bringing our arms up towards the shoulders or towards the ceilings. And as our arms are towards the ceiling, we're going to twist our upper body to the left side, placing our right hand on top of the left thigh and bringing our left arm behind. Coming into a Gomukhasana twist. So as we're twisted here, we're keeping our chest lifted and our eye gaze over the left shoulder. Three more breaths here. And on the next breath, we're going to slowly inhale, come to the center of our Gomukhasana. And then we're going to walk our hands forward, coming into a Gomukhasana forward fold. Staying here for 5 more breaths. So maybe the forearms are onto the mat. Maybe your chin is in towards your chest, getting extra stretch into our neck. And then after those breaths, you can rise up through the chest. Good. And then start to walk your hands back into the Gomukhasana legs. Good. And then inhale, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Bringing the left hand onto the left shin and bring the right arm behind, hugging at the hips. We're not going to stay here for too long, so for a total of 3 breaths. And then after those breaths, you can come back into your Gomukhasana legs, and I think it's easiest if you just walk yourself forward and come onto your knees. You can remove the blanket at this time, and then bring your right knee back into that tabletop position and just do a few cat-cows here to reset your spine. So you can do traditional cat-cows if you'd like, or maybe come into forward supported plank and then rounding the spine into an active child's pose. And then once you start to feel reset, you can come back into your normal tabletop position. And then this time with the left knee, we're going to bring the left knee in towards our chest and then exhale fire hydrant style. Holding it here for 5 breaths, engaging the core, spreading the knees as far apart as we can from one another. Good. And then after those 5 breaths, inhale, bring the left knee towards the left armpit. Staying here for 5 breaths. Still keeping that core engaged. And after those 5 breaths, you can start to find a rotation into the hip socket. And reversing the rotation. And keeping the left leg bent. And flexing the left foot up towards the ceiling. Stopping your left foot towards the ceiling. Good. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to guide the left knee behind the right, coming into those Gomukhasana legs. Good. And now the left leg is on the bottom, and we can slowly come to our seat, maybe placing a pillow underneath your seat if that's comfortable, putting a blanket in between the knees if there's a lot of open space. And even if it's uncomfortable to have your knees stacked, you can always opt out and possibly just keeping the sole, the left foot to the ground and the left knee towards the ceiling. Like this is okay too. So wherever you find that comfortable position here, you bring the arms out to the T and palms face up. Inhale, rise, arms up towards the ceiling. As we go on and twist over towards the right side, placing the left hand onto the right thigh. And you know what to do from here. Right shoulder is going to go towards the back. Eye gaze over the right shoulder. Five more breaths. Next breath. Eye gaze over the left shoulder. Good. And then we can inhale, rise, bringing the arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, hip hinge forward, fold hands onto the mat, maybe your forearms to follow. Chin to chest or maybe chin to knee. Staying here for 5 more breaths. And after the 5 breaths, you can slowly rise back up into the Gomukhasana legs. Arms up towards the ceiling as we inhale and start to twist your body over towards the left side with your left arm behind. Happy to stay here for long, only for 3 more breaths. You can very slowly release, coming back into your seated position and coming up onto the knees and coming back into that tabletop position. Seat to meet the mat. Knees come forward, feet come forward. Go ahead and do some windshield wiping. Butterflying your knees side to side. And we're coming close to the end of class here. So we can go ahead and find ourselves onto the mat. Good. And you're more than welcome to place a pillow underneath your head since we're going to remain on our spine for the rest of the time here. Good. So as you find your back onto the mat, you go ahead and hug your knees in here and rock side to side. And then as you continue to find this rock side to side. You can then take a deep inhale, bringing your arms above your head and point your toes to the front of the mat. A long body stretch for 3 breaths. And then we're going to do just 2 side body stretches. So you can either keep your head on your pillow, or you can place the pillow onto your spine if that's more comfortable for you. But from here, we're going to take our upper body towards the right side, keeping our hips into the center, and then taking our lower legs to the right as well. Grabbing onto the left wrist and bringing the left leg over the right, crisscrossing at the ankles. So it kind of looks like a crescent moon or banana shape here. Just staying here for 3 breaths. After the 3 breaths, you can return your body to its normal state. So coming back into neutral in the center, and then taking your legs to the left side, hips stay the center, upper body towards the left, grabbing onto the right wrist and right ankle over the left. 3 breaths. And then after those breaths, you can find yourself back into the center, releasing the legs, releasing the arms. And then taking one final long breath. Inhale, bringing your arms above your head and pointing your toes to the front of the mat. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And exhale, release to the mouth. You can choose to keep your hands above your head, maybe hands onto the stomach, by the hips. Anywhere for the next few moments here in your Shavasana. And as you are lying here in your Shavasana, I picked a quote that resonated with the times today. And it's an original quote by Martin Luther King Jr. That darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only love can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So then as you're lying onto your mat, you go ahead and start to wiggle your toes and your ankles, your fingers and your wrists. allowing yourself to reawaken from your Shavasana, bringing in that vital energy that we gained from today's practice. And on the next breath, you can hug your knees into your chest and bring your arms above overhead, taking a deep breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And then you can bring your knees to the side and very gently coming into a sitting position of your choice. And as we find ourselves on our sitting area, we can take your hands and bring them into the palm heart center. And bowing at your Anjali Mudra, giving gratitude for yourself for making it to today's class, as well as giving gratitude for everybody else that is sharing this class with us today and the resources that we have so that we are able to maintain our health in the both physical and mental sense. My peace be still for the rest of your night, and namaste. All right, well, thank you, Celeste, for joining class today, and for whoever the other mystery people are that are streaming with us. Thanks for coming to this Yin class. You're more than welcome to hop on into the other live stream of the next yoga class. It will be kind of the same properties that you'll be seeing or that you saw in the Yin, but with more asanas and more of a flowing sequence instead of just a Yin. So come and hang out. I'll see you in a few minutes.